Welcome your faces back to a brand new video from your boy Matthew. Call me whatever you want, angry white man, whatever it is. This is me in the flesh. But in all seriousness, I've been thinking a lot about where we go from here after Charlie Kirk's brutal assassination. Obviously I'm trying to argue a way forward which does not include violence, because we are all human. We should all try and preserve our humanity the best way we can, peacefully and by nurturing our souls, and be kinder to people, no matter what their beliefs are, no matter where they're from, no matter how they think, because people experience things differently. They have very unique experiences, unique values, unique, introduction to the world. Not every life is the same. Everyone is special. And so formulating a vision that unites us as a people, as a civilization perhaps, is a very difficult task, and one that requires us to have a conversation about it. I'm not defending Charlie Kirk's ideas. My only problem is that the quotes that people cherry pick are literally that, cherry picked. And you could also cherry pick anything I say out of context to make me out as a massive far-right bigot. I mean, that's anyone. Everyone alive that's ever been alive has said something controversial that would land him in prison in today's UK. It's an untenable standard, and for me, it's no longer about left and right. It's about the dividing line between our human hearts, good and evil, and whether you play the game left or right. It shouldn't matter about what you believe in, as long as you believe in the inalienable truths that human souls, human life, has a value. And that value should not be extinguished by other actions. Now, I'm sure a lot of people will say, well, Charlie Kirk's death has spurred you to make this video, but you never spoke up when Gazans were killed and stuff like that. And you have a fair point, but I'm not trying to discredit all the other suffering in the world. I appreciate there's a whole load of people in the world that go through hell, are suffering today, and nothing I'm saying now should discredit or disregard their suffering. As a result of Charlie Kirk's death, I can see a lot more suffering to be taking place. And it's not me, I'm not in favour of this, hence why I'm making this video. I'm trying to find a way where we can stop playing into this left and right divide, because to me that doesn't benefit anyone except the elites, those that control us, those that own the narrative. We are gifting too much power away to those that would seek to cancel you, whether you be on the right or the left. It doesn't matter where you sit on the political spectrum. Now, I grew up a socialist. I'm still left wing at heart. But I just can't associate myself with a label. I didn't associate myself with the right. I never have. That's never been something I've espoused to be. I've never, I just strongly disagree with the framing, the tribalistic framing of this. Either you're part of a tribe, everyone's part of a tribe. I don't agree with that. Dividing people up and pitching them against each other is just causing more strife. And what you want is more peace, more harmony, uniting us as a country, as a civilization, as a people, with terms we can all agree with. Not everyone gets what they want in a society. Not everyone does. I don't get what I want all the time. No one does. No one gets the entire, perfect ideal vision of what society looks like. No one does. That's the bargain here. Even among left-leaning individuals, the revolution will never be what they want it to be. It's impossible. So, perfection is unattainable. It's an idealistic dream which will never happen. And here I'm not saying we shouldn't strive for perfection. We should, but peacefully. It has to come naturally. Forcing people is not the answer. That's inhumane. And I think people should come to terms with what they want out of their own life without being forced through the government or through society, through the mob rule or whatever, to do anything that they feel compelled to do because they can't say something because it may offend someone's feelings, or they can't do this, can't do that. They can't attend a protest, they can't do this because they lose their job. People should be able to voice their voice. People should be free to voice their concern in any democratic country, any free country. It requires it. It's a requisite for freedom. So anyway, I've thought a lot about this, and I've gone a bit of a tirade here, a bit of a rant. For my opinion, for far too long, British politics has been framed as a battle between left and right, headline versus headline. If you strip away the slogans and the spin, and most people in Britain, no matter who they vote for, believe in the same fundamental truths: free speech, the right to disagree, the right to own property, and the freedom to live as they please, as long as you do no harm to others. The real division should be good versus bad. Ideas and behaviours that build society and those who break it. So, just ask your neighbours, ask your colleagues, do they want fairness, opportunity, safety, and decent safety net when life goes wrong? They all say yes. People want self-reliance, encouraged, but not abandonment when misfortune strikes. They want public institutions that work: schools, hospitals, police that protect the vulnerable and respect the rule of law. These are values shared across the political map, spectrum, whatever you want to call it. You see them in people who vote Conservative and those who vote Labour. You see them in people who describe themselves as Reform voters, like Faragians, or Jeremy Corbynistas, those who vote Labour, or Corbyn, New Party. Now, I'm not here to smear anyone here. I know it's a far-fetched ideal, having the Jeremy Corbyns and the Faragians uniting, but both sides have legitimate grievances with the establishment. They both don't like the way the country's going. Now it's being headed. And I like Jeremy Corbyn. I'm not going to talk about Nigel Farage. I don't know much. I'm not discussing. Yeah, but whether I like him or not is irrelevant. People adore him, and we cannot simply dismiss their concerns. We cannot simply throw the accusations out there. We tried this game past 10 years. And I want to speak to you about a person who I spoke to at 5 a.m. in the morning in Aberystwyth, and I was doing my degree. He was arguing, this was in 2016 or 2015, so 10 years ago now. He was arguing that if Brexit happened, they would still find a way to ignore the vote. At the very least, get sick of referendum. Now, I was for Remain. I voted for Britain to remain as part of the EU. So me and him, we were arguing, and he was complaining about he'd get called racist and the other. And my grandfather, he also voted UKIP. He also wanted less immigration, but he voted Labour. Well, he voted UKIP in the general election, but then Labour in local elections. That's how it worked for him. He was not. People nowadays will describe him as being far right. Whatever. But to me, it's relevant. I never once accused my grandfather of being racist. I may disagree with him, but what did I know? I was a 18-year-old, whatever. Didn't know much about the world, and my grandfather did. And he worked long hours. He worked his whole life, and he was never. He never came across as being resentful or upset. He just had his voice, and he used his voice, and he said what he wanted to say. And he never backed down. He never apologised. Good for him. And he was a very good man. I miss my Gramps. Of course I do. I miss him a lot. So, but he wanted fairness as well. He wanted fairness for Britain and British people. He was not. His heart was not filled with hate at all. It was filled with love. And so this guy was very much pro-Brexit in this pub. I argued against him, saying, no, there's no way we'll ask a second referendum. Democracy is democracy. Of course I was wrong. And we did try and get another referendum in. And even now there have been a number of civil servants trying to sabotage the Brexit dream. And fair enough. I mean, I'm not even going to go into that anymore. It doesn't matter. It's water under the bridge. It's the past. My point is, that both sides have legitimate grievances, and we need to listen to them and speak to them. Respect what they say. I think it's very important, because I feel we're going down a path where all we need to do is slander. Nobody benefits from this system. So recent events in the United States, the killing of a high-profile conservative activist, I call him activist, that's a true term. He was speaking at Utah University, doing what he's always done, speak. And it exposed something for me. When violence happens, some people respond with compassion and grief, and others with celebration. Now, of course, I'm aware it's the social media hype. The worst ones get a lot of views. And so I think a lot of people may be getting a lot more radical view of what's actually true. And that's not helping the situation. That's inflaming things. And the news coverage and public action have ranged from universal calls to condemn political violence to instances where commentators or individuals, celebrated their death. I'm not going to name any channel. We've seen it all the time now. It's been an ongoing thing since his passing. And for me, this presents a danger. And a reminder that partisanship, be it, whether you're Democrat, Republican, or Labour, or Tory, or whatever it could be, whatever your partisanship, whatever your allegiance is, there needs to be common sense, practicality being brought back into politics. This is not acceptable. If the right wing kills, it's not acceptable. If the left wing kills, it's not acceptable. If people kill, it's not acceptable. And I know people are making equivalences of George Floyd's death versus Charlie Kirk's, like Abba and Preach. And I find that distasteful because we're not sure what killed George Floyd. The verdict's still out on that one. So it's not the same. Now, of course, I'm not advocating for his death. I don't like the fact he died. I don't appreciate he did. But it's not as clear cut as Charlie Kirk. No one murdered him. It's not the same. We should all do better. No matter where we come from, no matter our education, no matter our background, no matter our walks of life, we should all be better than this. Charlie Kirk's death should make us all uncomfortable. If we cheer political violence or excuse those who do, be it by, saying, oh, it's what's coming to him. Some of the quotes that were pushed. We cross into something immoral, quite frankly, and dangerous. We cannot weaponize a tragedy for scorekeeping. Because I'm fully aware, if we are going to play by the left and right divide, there are people on the right wing that are equally violent. I don't want that. Yeah. I don't want that. I don't want that for my kids. I don't want that for my family. I don't want that for my brothers and sisters. I don't want that for my neighbour next door. I don't want anyone to suffer horrific circumstances due to a mere difference of opinion. Now, caveats aside, and always been studying violence, sure, but we already have that. That's not controversial. We understand that. We should understand that. That's obviously the basis of free speech. We have free speech. Again, it always comes down to this though. It's always the nitpicky. We understand you're not limited to site violence. We understand that, but let's not do that. We have free speech. Let's maintain free speech. Let's maintain ability to speak freely and clearly without undue interference from the state. Now, from the workplace, it's for the story. Of course, you could be fired for your opinions. My workplace didn't like the fact that I had these opinions on my YouTube channel. Fair enough, they can fire me. That's fine. It's not ideal for me, but it's part and parcel of what I do. I risk it because I think it's needed to be said. I stand by what I said. I don't think I've said anything. I'm not inciting violence at all. I want peace. I want freedom for everyone, including our kids, children, everyone. Not just black, not just white, everyone. Like Charlie Kirk, I don't like the idea of race. I don't like splitting people up into categories, be it left and right, be it black and white, be it this and the other. I don't like that. Dividing us up is convenient for the elites. They're fighting each other, rather than finding reasons to unite and being brothers. I would like nothing more than be friends with everyone. But we live in a much more dangerous world now. And I'm hoping that this can change. I don't know if my voice will change to make any blind bit of difference, but at least I've said it. It feels good for me at least saying it. I'll keep saying it. I'll keep maintaining that position. And when I have kids, I'll raise them the same way. I want them to be peaceful, strong, defend yourself when needed, if needed, but be peaceful. Show empathy, show compassion to others, even when it's hard. You know, and that's a very Christian belief, and there is something about Christianity that we ought to, I view, we ought to reflect on. But that's a topic for another video. But the lesson for me is clear. Playing with the left and right wing narrative in moments like this especially deepens divisions and makes political violence more likely, not less. We need to focus on what unites us and build bridges from there. Because the alternative is politics where outrage and vengeance replace reason and reform, or common sense, or impartiality even. So why are we stuck with this vicious cycle? Well, I think it's social media, but the media in general, and education system, and contemporary politics rewards division. Parties win by stoking fear and division. Media outlets profit from outrage. Social media magnifies the extremes and buries the moderates. So we squabble about labels, the practical problems that affect everyday people's lives. Housing, healthcare, jobs, mental health services, community safety are sidelined. We don't talk about any of those things anymore. We talk about how the countryside can be less racist. And everything's about race and identity politics these days, and it just seems contrived virtue signaling to get people upset about something or the other. You know, there are genuine issues in this country that need to be addressed, and talking about race, all this does, it divides us. I'm playing the same game, I suppose, by talking about it, but someone needs to say, look, this is not the right way to go about things. So, what am I proposing, right? What kind of policies would I introduce if I wasn't trying to play into the left and right divide? First thing would be a universal basic income. There are several reasons for this. The first one is artificial intelligence. It's coming whether you like it or not. So in order for us to adapt to the new reality, which will come about thanks to artificial intelligence, we need a stronger safety net for those jobs that currently people do, but are no longer there. And the profits that should be redistributed in some way, shape or form to the wider population. Because fundamentally, who buys these products? People, humans. So if no one has a job, thanks to AI, there'll be no one able to purchase or buy products. And I think the age of the artificial intelligence kind of removes the need for money. Because I believe in the future, maybe in 100 years' time, we will live in a post-scarce world. And I believe this idea of climate change and the current problems we have with distributing resources across the planet, you know, thanks to wastage, 20% of our water is wasted every year. It would no longer be a problem thanks to AI. I think AI has the potential to truly, well and truly change the way we live and shape the future of this world. I believe can either go one or two ways. and I want to go or advocate for the way which offers the least amount of suffering and that most people can enjoy. So I think UBI is required policy, but for anyone who wants to disagree on UBI and says makes people lazy, well, fair enough. But we already have a UBI. 50% of the UK economy is a state. The government pays for it. So we already have a UBI. 50% of the workforce in the UK, either directly or indirectly, is being subsidised by the state. That's for those working. Doesn't even include those who don't work. I think, at least. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But I think 50% of those who work currently either get paid directly or indirectly through the government. So we already have a UBI. Now you can say these people actually work. Fair enough. Fair enough. Good point. I'm not saying these jobs will be taken over like that. It will obviously happen across a span of many years. But I reckon 10, 20 at most, 20 years is what we have before we will start to see real changes, if not less. If not less than 20 years. And I think this is one problem where I think both the left and right, if you want to keep playing this game, can agree with. And I think the Nigel Faragians and the Jeremy Corbynistas could agree on. How about those apples? We both agree on UBI. Fantastic. On top of that, though, I'd also remove the minimum wage. And I know it's controversial. I know most people these days will probably disagree with me when I say this. But you don't need a high minimum wage if you've got a UBI. People get paid a base salary no matter what. Anything on top of that, it's experience, it's what they want to do, it's the fulfillment for themselves. They can pursue whatever desire they want. They don't necessarily get paid for that because you already get paid through the UBI. And so even if it's something that is of interest to you, this UBI can support you to find a means to make it lucrative. People no longer feel the need to have to desperately find any job that they can find. They can find a job that they actually want to do, want to pursue, make it meaningful to them and them only. Well, them only. It could be applicable to many other people, but I'm just saying, instead of, if you don't want to become, I don't know, I'm picking a job at random, an engineer, for example, or doctor, you do it because you want money. Well, maybe now this gives you the opportunity not to become. I'm choosing a very ridiculous example. I'm just saying it allows people the choice. And choice for me is freedom. If you come from a broken family, you don't know where to go, well, this basic UBI allows you to formulate a vision for yourself and doesn't stress you out. Doesn't say, oh, tomorrow you need to do this and the other. No, your bills are covered. You got extra. You may want to, figure out what you want. Of course, those who earn a lot of money won't need a UBI, so they'll be paying more tax to pay for it. But this UBI will also remove any existing welfare schemes, yeah? So PIP, rename it. Basically, the whole bureaucracy just goes away. It moves all the bureaucracy, the latest bureaucracy just goes. Don't need any of that. It's now just everyone gets a payment. Everyone does. You can include that with kids as well. So kids will get paid. The parents can do what they want that money. So choice, it gives people the freedom to choose, and that is, to me, the most important bit. And even if it's funded through debt, everything these days is funded through debt, so it's not much of a difference. and fund a world-class NHS. Not slogans, but actual investment. We need to bring back the NHS. I think both Jeremy Corbynistas and the Nigel Faragians love the NHS. They both want the NHS to thrive. And this is one that's controversial, and immediately I'll be targeted here. But hear me out, yeah. I would like to advocate for sensible, temporary immigration controls. Britain has always welcomed newcomers, but we must match compassion with capacity. At the moment, the UK is not able to deal with the influx of people into our schools, and our NHS cannot properly absorb the new patients. Once we've established this new wave of immigrants and they've integrated and we've built enough houses and we become more of a stable country, then perhaps we will reopen the borders. That may be in 5, 10, 15, 20 years. I don't know. But equally, I also don't know what benefits AI can provide. Maybe AI completely revolutionizes the way we live. Maybe we can, have millions more people in the country. Maybe. I mean, I'm open to the idea. But I think sensible position now is to say, look, let's look after our own. Let's make sure those currently here are taken care of first, and then we extend it further. And finally, lower taxes where possible. And I want to particularly target those who want to start businesses, those startups, and also corporations. So companies. I want lower taxes for companies and corporations. Now, that may not be possible, feasible. I don't know yet. I haven't yet made the figures. But that to me is would be the ideal one, because it brings people in the country, it raises capital for businesses to start, it gives us economic prosperity, and coupled that with, I mean, I'd even say if you have no minimum wage but you have higher taxes, you might actually get more businesses coming here by default. And I think they'd be happier to pay higher taxes for our limited workforce. A limited number of people can work for you. All you need to do is get attract them, and they can set up shop, because they're minimum wage. It's not £25,000 a year minimum. You can employ them. You can negotiate with them how many hours you want to do, and this and the other. I'm not. People could say that's bad. How is it bad if both sides are getting a good deal? Otherwise, wouldn't go, would they? So it doesn't really matter. So yeah. So for the UBI argument, I think it reduces poverty, and it reduces dependence on bureaucracies and strengthens bargaining power, ability to negotiate for oneself in the marketplace. And NHS it provides a basic standard protection for the most vulnerable, and also it increases social stability. Make sure you're well taken care of in your old age. And immigration, it's about humanely, or allowing people to integrate humanely and protecting social cohesion. So finally, I'll end on this. The elites, they are insulated by wealth and power and influence. And they often treat political life as a chess game of sound bites and donors. They don't respond to moralizing. They respond to votes, public pressure, and the clear demonstration that ordinary citizens demand solutions. So make them pay attention. We need to unite together against the elites, who may otherwise have other ideas of what they want to do with artificial intelligence. And imagine politics where the question is, will this make Britain fairer and stronger? Or will it make us meaner and weaker? It's not left and right, It's good versus bad. Let us stand together, patriots of different stripes, and rebuild politics that honours free speech, rewards industry, supports the vulnerable, and rejects violence and contempt. Let us be the ones to build bridges, not burn them. That's all I have to say. Thank you all for listening.
They draw the lines, red and blue, saying, choose a side, it's them or you. But every flag draped on the grave can't wash the blood, can't save the slain. They profit from the clash, divide us as we bleed, while mothers cry the same, no matter what they believe. It's not left, it's not right, it's the dark against the light. Those who cheer when children die, and those who see our loss as life. Stand for peace or stand for pain. That's the line, that's the chain. From Gaza streets to Ukraine skies, the global empire feeds on lies. They sell us rage, they sell us fear, so we don't see each other clear. JFK to January's flame, different faces but the game's the same. Charlie Kirk, our voices banned, Tommy's silenced by their hand. Thousands more who dare to speak, crushed because they won't agree. We're in one boat, the tide's the same. Minor rifts can't sink the chain. They want us broken, they want us blind, but truth is simple. Your pain is mine. Not left, not right. We stand for life. Break the chains of hate. Don't take the bait. Human hearts, the final line against the global empire's grand design. Not left.